Okay, so we're going to be going through the steps of the SuperPack's closeout. This is our checklist. As we move forward, we'll be kind of going into these in detail to the next slides. But the closeout checklist is check all units, make sure every unit is working properly and there are no defects on any backpack. Finalize contracts with the military and subcontractors. Get the rest of the money owed from the military and pay the subcontractors the money from overtime that was agreed to. And for the workers we had, we agreed to pay them better overtime and put extra money in their retirement. We have a lot of extra radios, refrigeration units, batteries, and materials from the backpacks. They need to be stored just in case there's any defects in any of the backpacks that are out in use with the military right now, or that will be in use. And we'll go over the project audits and the times we'll meet with the military. So checking all units. We're going to put the design manager in charge of that. The last delivery for all the units is due by March 1st. So just to make sure all the units are checked and everything, we want that all done by February 20th, just in case, you know, a refrigeration unit is bad or something like that. We're going to make sure that that's replaced. That'll give us any time to make any changes that we need. We don't expect many units to be bad, but we just want to have a little buffer for our time frame. So finalizing the contracts. As the owner of SuperPacks, I'll be dealing with the contracts and finalizing those with the military and the subcontractors. The last payment we'll get from the military is supposed to be on May 30th. We have our subcontractors paid up to 90% right now of what we owe them. We will be paying the final 10%, and we'll be paying that once we get our money. And there's also some overtime that they agreed to work as well, so we'll pay them that money too. All that's going to be paid and finalized by June 14th. That's a couple weeks after, and we should be able to have all that time in. We'll be getting a substantial check from the military, and most of that is money that we won't owe to anybody else. Like I said, we have 90% of our contractors paid right now. So our employees, as owners of SuperPack, I'll be responsible for this project as well. Our employees have worked a lot of overtime and they've worked really hard. So now we should compensate them fairly. We agreed to pay them more overtime than they were making when they worked overtime before, because they've had to work a ton of overtime. And we were putting up a match of 5% of the time. We're matching them up to 10% at least during this time frame of all their overtime for their retirement pay. And all this back pay and retirement pay will be paid after the last military payment, and that'll be due on June 14th. So they'll get a good chunk of overtime money, and well, I guess the retirement money will have to be paid through the span of that. We already agreed to that and everything, but as far as the overtime money goes, they'll be getting a good chunk of money on June 14th. We also agreed to have a company party because they've worked so hard, and the company party will happen on the July 4th weekend. That way they can spend time with families and friends on July 4th, and then they'll be able to come in and have another party too on that weekend. Storage is something we'll need to look into. We'll have an on-site storage. I'm sure that we'll be able to store everything at, but the design manager will be responsible for that. It's not a hard project, but we will have to store battery packs, refrigeration units, the radio units, and the materials for the backpack. We need to prepare just in case units go bad. So we have a lot of batteries. Is the main thing, is storing all these batteries. We have that's the most that we'll have. And then the refrigeration units, backpack, or the radio units, we'll need to have a few of those, but the battery units is the main thing. We'll need to keep inventory as we move them out, and the end date for this project is 5 years after the last delivery, because that's what we agreed to with the military. But as far as this goes, it's not going to be a ton of work. We'll just, if the military wants a extra refrigeration unit, they'll send us the bad one. We'll send them the new good one, and we'll take a look at the bad one and see if we can get that fixed. All that's supposed to end on March 1st, 2025. The project audits. These audits will be performed by me and the design manager. The first audit and program review will start November 16th, 2020. We will conduct audits every 6 months with the military for 2 years. These audits will include bag checks to make sure everything on the bag is working properly. This will end November 16th, 2022. Again, that's not a hard thing to do. We're just looking to make sure that all our backpacks are in good shape for the military, because they'll need their good product out there. Closeout type. This is a normal closeout. The project overall went very well. A few things came up we didn't expect, including our radio subcontractor closing. The units overall looked very good, and many are on the field right now, and we haven't heard any complaints so far at this point. Lessons learned. Preparation is key for everything. We had the military ask for 50 more units on the beginning shipment, and we weren't expecting that. We had to ask people to work unexpected overtime. We should have prepared our employees for overtime during this time of the entire project. But we did feel bad that the employees weren't expecting this overtime, so we do want to prepare them if we have another project like this. Also, when the radio subcontractor went out of business, unfortunately, we weren't focused on the radio as much as we were on the refrigeration and battery units. We just didn't really expect a radio subcontractor to go out, so we did have to look for another one. So that put a little more pressure on us, but the lesson learned there was we need to kind of keep a balance to be prepared for what's to come, or what could come. And that is it.